Welcome to Mitten Music.
We traveled to Jackson, Michigan to attend GIG, the Art of Michigan Music, which highlights visual artists in music, such as photographers, videographers, and graphic designers. The event was held at Art 634 in Jackson. We had the opportunity to talk to 5 graphic artists, from intern to 50-year veterans. Great conversations about concert posters, music, and a little magic in there as well. We talked to Carl Lundgren, Dennis Preston, Matthew Jacobson, Jonathan Doyle, and Jaylen Westbrook.
So tell us about your artistry and your posters and like what.
It's amazing. I always wanted to be an artist.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be an illustrator. I wanted to do book covers.
Ooh, book covers.
That's
cool.
Paintings.
Sure.
And that's all I really cared about. But I knew a guy in the neighborhood named Mouse, and he was a poster artist in San Francisco. So when I went through San Francisco on my way to college in LA, I ran into him. He was doing these posters, which are really cool.
Yeah.
Art.
Yeah, right.
And when I got back to Detroit, I found out there was a place in Detroit called the Grandy Ballroom, which also was doing the posters. So I hooked up with the main guy, Gary Grimshaw.
How long ago was this?
This is pretty recently. 1967.
You trolled me.
Yeah.
Got me good.
When was this? Do I look like a kid starting out?
You do.
No.
Hey, we just talked to somebody that started playing ukulele at 61. So you never know.
And he's amazing.
Wow.
He's amazing at the ukulele.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
But you've been doing this a lot longer than that. So
yeah, 67. I started doing it professionally in Detroit and didn't think much of it. I loved doing it. I got to go into the print shop where they actually made the posters, printed them.
That's cool.
And hung out and learned all of the tricks of the trade. I did all of the stripping of the negatives in the dark room and, making the plates, the printing plates. And, I got really technically involved, and I loved doing, every time I did a poster, I tried to make it different than the other one. And then I forgot about it for 30 years.
Oh, really?
Till the mid 80s, some guy came to my house and said, "Do you have any old posters you did back in the 60s?" And I had a stack of them, and he gave me $400 for a stack of posters.
Stuff that you just thought you had downstairs collecting dust?
I just hung on to it, not knowing it was worth anything. One of the posters now sells on auctions for $15,000.
Whoa!
Are you kidding me?
One of them, yeah. So I didn't know anything about it, but
how could you or would you know that?
I could care less,
right? It's like,
but a couple of years later, I started realizing that I got to make some money at posters.
Oh, for sure.
People collect them, but I didn't have any originals, but I knew collectors that did, so I scanned them and reproduced them and started selling them myself. Signing them and selling them, and I created a poster empire.
Oh, wow.
And I sold my business twice now.
Took a hiatus for a long time.
30 years.
So you found out that there was a lot of value in this.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then you got back into it.
Yeah. I'd done these things just because I needed the money. I was well paid at the time. And, it just was a stepping stone to I eventually became a fantasy science fiction illustrator in New York.
Okay.
And I got real famous at that. And then, the posters took a back seat. I never thought about them, like I said, until, 20 years ago or so.
You've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
And sounds like you did some concert posters back in the day. But where did this really start, and how did you get into drawing?
While I was in high school, one of my art school high school art teachers said, there's a guy that's looking for somebody to do posters so they could sell them in a record store or something. So I got with him, and this place was called Free Spirit, and it was in downtown Lansing. It was a huge building, and it was like, it had all these little shops inside of them, and one of them was the record store, and it was the record store guy that wanted to talk to me. So I went down there, and he had me do a mural. This was before the whole building was open up, and I did a mural that had like Jefferson Airplane and Ravi Shankar and Pink Floyd and all those guys on this mural. And at the same time as that was going on, people started knowing me for doing artwork for the record store and Free Spirit. But at the same time, I was in a band and I knew other guys that were in bands, and there was a band called The Dogs.
Okay.
The Dogs are still, two of the original members are still in The Dogs, but they're out in LA now.
Oh.
So they do national tours, international actually. So they used to have me do their posters. And what happened is they had a joint show that was at the MSU Union that they wanted me to do the poster for. And there was like 2 Detroit bands that were playing too. I designed the poster. The promoter, of course, printed it, and he got a hold of me. His name is Jerry Patlow.
Okay.
Jerry Patlow was based in Detroit. Jerry started having me do posters for the Melody Ballroom. So I was doing those every week. And Jerry gave me so much work. The hard part with Jerry's thing was I could get a call probably between 12 and 1 at night.
Oh.
So I would be up I was an all-nighter guy anyways. But he would give me the call to do the poster. He'd tell me who's on there. And sometimes I would draw something just for the poster. Sometimes I just take something out of the sketchbook and paste it down and then draw the lettering around it, or use dry transfer type just to, and like I mixed all these styles up, because if I run out of a letter and then I got to grab something else and rub it down, or cut it out, format, you had to cut out with X-Acto knives. And so I'd do that. But the thing was, I'd have like 2 or 3 hours to work on the thing.
Wow.
Stick it in the mail so he can get it in time to print them off. Because back then, I didn't drive, so I'd get on my bike and ride to, the post office or something and mail it to him.
Wow.
So from Jerry's stuff, Melody Ballroom things, I started doing them for Sherwood Forest, because he was the guy that was supplying a lot of the bands for that. And that was Peter C's thing.
Okay.
You know who he is?
Sounds familiar, but
Pete Cavanaugh from WTAC in Flint.
okay.
And Sherwood Forest was in Davison. So Pete would get a hold of me, tell me who all's playing. And I said, okay, So I would get them printed at Lansing, and then Pete or somebody else would drive to Lansing and pick up all the posters and then take them back.
So you started out doing these concert posters based on the designs you were doing for a record store. Then you get into the concert posters, and
the record store thing was like, this is like right after high school. So the record store thing kind of just went at the same time as the concert posters.
Okay, gotcha.
There were 2 branches of the same tree.
Okay.
So, but people would know me from the record store, and I would get work from bands that way too, and radio stations.
And then once you started getting the concert posters, your word got out, and people started. So you started spreading on that side, because you were down in Detroit, then you're up in Flint. I mean, Jeff Davidson's stuff, right? Yep. So it just kept
building up.
Yeah. Dropped out of doing posters in late 74 or something. I just stopped doing them.
Okay.
And then kind of eased back into doing it again, throughout the years. And then,
artist, designer, what else, Matthew? Tell us a little bit. Magician,
What?
yes.
That's
how you started out, kind of, right?
That's true. Yes. Yeah. When I was 7, I started performing at birthday parties in the neighborhood. By the time I was 12, I had opened up for Tiny Tim at the Sonic Temple, Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
12?
Yeah, for a policeman's ball.
What?
Yeah, and did halftime for the Detroit Pistons.
What?
I opened up for Jack White in Las Vegas in 2022 at the Cosmopolitan.
That's got to be like up here.
That was a little crazy.
That sounds like badass.
Well, that was a little crazy because I wasn't listed on the poster because it was a last minute addition, and there was an opening band.
Okay.
And so the opening band, I thought I would go out and perform. Then the opening band would perform. Then Jack would perform.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. But that wasn't the case. Instead, the opening band, Chicano Batman, performed. Then the stage gets cleared. Jack's stuff is out there. Everyone's, really pumped and excited. Jack has a DJ who's getting people all in the mood. And then he comes out on the mic and says, now from Detroit. Now,
No way.
Jack no longer lives in Detroit, but he was from Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Detroit, although I now live in Chicago. But he said, and the DJ didn't know that. He probably assumed I still lived in Detroit. But he said, now from Detroit. And my wife looked at me. She's like, good luck. Because everyone starts like, oh, this is going to be Jack coming out. They're like, Matthew Jacobson. And I'm sure people were like, what? And so I performed some magic, sort of a mind reading effect. But I didn't tell people that I was on stage and that they were about to see they knew I was on stage.
Yeah.
I didn't say I was going to do magic or mind reading. Instead, I said, I'm a poster designer. You don't usually see poster designers on stage. And amazingly, when I talked about various posters I had designed for Jack in Vegas, because this was in Vegas, the first year he played in Vegas, I did a scratch off poster. It looked like a slot machine. You could scratch off the windows and actually win prizes.
That's
the second time I designed a deck of playing cards, not just the backs, but also the faces. So there was 56 different poster sized playing cards.
Oh, wow.
And when you would go buy a card, you were essentially like, dealt one.
Yeah.
And so someone might get the 6 clubs, someone else the Jack of Spades. And they were all custom designed. So Jack was obviously the Jacks. Nikola Tesla was the Kings. And at each show, he played 2 shows that year in Vegas. Jack, from a regular deck of cards, would pick a card. And if the card you had been dealt or purchased matched it, you won a prize.
Oh, that's cool.
So I brought up those 2 previous posters, and actually people in the audience applauded. I was like, this is crazy. You know my work?
Yeah.
So, and then the reason that I performed magic before Jack in Vegas is because magic and Vegas are synonymous.
Fair.
And in fact, the poster for that performance that I designed featured sort of Jack looking very much like a magician, and you can actually use that poster to perform a magic.
And that's amazing to me that you opened up at 12 years old.
Oh yeah,
for somebody.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Obviously, you were really good at that age.
You were ready.
You know what's interesting? I was very shy when I was a kid, but my grandparents had come from the world of vaudeville and burlesque in Detroit, and they were concerned that I was so shy. And they used to take me to this like cafeteria. It was called the MCL cafeteria. You get your mac and cheese, chicken and jello or what have you. And it was in a mall called the Tel 12 Mall in Southfield, Michigan. And in that mall, there was a magic club. They were called the Tel 12 Mall Mystics. And once a month, so my grandparents signed me up. For some reason, they thought, oh, if he becomes a magician, he'll no longer be shy. He'll make lots of friends. It's almost
random.
Like the thing, you're going to get muscles and go on the beach. And, it's like, instead I'm going to learn tricks and all of a sudden have friends. I didn't have friends, but I came out of my shell when performing. So even though the show in Vegas and the show opening for Tiny Tim was thousands of people, in some ways I was and still am more comfortable in situations like that than, I'm a bit of a wallflower at a party, honestly.
Sure. So how long you been doing design?
Arting.
Arting, yeah.
Honestly, my whole life, but professionally since COVID. Yeah, I was a studio engineer. I actually got a job at the Chelsea Theater,
Yeah.
2 days before they locked everything down.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that's how I made money, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I have children, so my wife is still currently a nurse, so that was all up in the air. We didn't know if she had a job, so I didn't know what to do, right? So I started making bootleg Grateful Dead and Billy Strings fan art and selling it on Facebook.
Oh,
hell yeah!
Well, the thing is I grew up. My parents were kind of hippies, and so they loved the Dead, and the big poster deal with that. not a lot of bands followed through with the having a poster for every show, but the Dead seemed to do a
Tool
lot.
is one of them that
Exactly.
one of the
but
few.
early on, the Dead was
That
kind of
was
leaders, right?
Yeah, they
They were
probably
exactly. Well,
started it.
Carl out there had a lot to do with that too.
Yep, we talked to him.
Yeah,
He's
that's like poster Jesus, man.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I can even Carl's work. I can see a lot of his stuff through the years, and they live in my head rent free. Those images, and then when times are tough, I'm like, what's left to do? What I can't go out, I can't see people. So music is still happening and concerts are still happening because they were doing all those
Live
online
streams.
deals.
Yeah.
And so Billy Strings at the time was doing it was called like Save the Venue through Nashville. He was playing all these shows that were booked, but with no crowds, live stream on the internet. But he still had posters. Every show had a poster.
Cool. Yeah.
That's effort.
Right. That's effort. And so then, being a fan, I love that. And then kind of the artist money making, gotta survive and keep my family afloat thing kicked in. And they were like, look at these people buy these posters. They'll release 50 posters and they are gone within 5 minutes.
Yeah. Right.
$40.
When you walk into the venue, you go to the poster line.
And and it's through the
you
door.
run to the poster line.
Right. That's become a thing. And that in itself, just out of the art world, doesn't really exist anywhere anymore. It's like the nostalgia of just that's that moment in time. You could ask my wife because she absolutely hates it, but our house, I have 4 walls in my house that are floor to ceiling posters.
Wow.
I want
3
to
high.
see pictures of that shit.
Art's always been kind of like a backseat, like not a job. I said my parents were hippies. My mom was a hippie and my dad was a hippie for an extended period of time until he became not a hippie and was like, oh, you can't, art's not a job, music isn't a job. He fell into that mentality. So I never fell into that. I never believed it. So I've kind of been on that struggling artist boat forever. So I always just thought that music would be it, right?
Yeah.
That was it. I've got my degrees, I'm a professional, and to get your stool kicked out and have to start all the way down at the bottom doodling bootleg pictures, I had already been like, okay, graphic design is obviously a career, right?
Yeah.
And so I had all that schooling in music engineering, and I don't know if you're familiar with it at all, but maybe you guys do. Radio, Pro Tools, Pro Tools?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pro Tools and Photoshop
Mm-hmm.
are pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
Literally, one's visual, one's audio, but all the controls, it was so familiar. It was ridiculous.
It was an easy transition for you to jump into
immediate.
That. We were just admiring your art out there in the gallery, all hand drawn.
Oh yeah,
all hand drawn art drawings, I guess.
I call them doodles because I don't plan them out. I just start drawing and just let things grow, and I go, oh, okay, that's what it ends up being. It's not like
so no real. You just kind of how the pencil flows.
Well, it's a pen. Yeah. I just let it happen. If I'm doing work for a client, for sure, I'll pencil it out first. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Or they might be asking you for something more specific.
They do.
So then, makes sense.
Yeah, because once in a while I have to, scan it and send like a rough, or sometimes they just want a rough and I don't even have to pencil something out. It's just like an idea.
Okay.
And well, that happened about a month ago when I was doing the Billy Strings poster. They said, we'll just, do a rough of an idea that you're thinking. And I go, okay. So I sent them something. They liked it a lot, but they said, oh, we want to save this for something else.
Oh, wow.
And plus the other thing on top of that is like the thing that they were doing this year is there was a theme to the posters that had to do wherever the venue was.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I
That's
said,
a cool thing. That's cool.
Well, at first I thought it was limiting.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Because I go, oh, okay, what is Baltimore known for? So I had to look up, okay.
Put you in a little more of a box, kind of.
It did.
In a sense. Or gave you some walls of some kind.
It did. It gave me that. And on top of that, it had to tie in with Halloween.
Okay.
So what I told them...
Well, that should be easy for you. You should be able to do Halloween, no problem.
The thing was...
All this stuff is Halloween.
I know what you're saying.
We'll get to that in a few minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, what it was is like I told him, I said, okay, Halloween. I said, but I don't want to do witches or anything satanic. I said, just let me do something, They said, well, make sure it has to do with, Baltimore or Maryland, something like that. I said, okay. So I gave him 2 rough ideas, and then I looked up on Google and go, okay, what is this place known for?
The Orioles?
Well, yeah.
That's the first thing that pops in my head.
Well, and that's what I did.
Wow.
Wait a minute now. I took that other idea, the original one I gave him, and I can't tell you what it is, but I put a ball cap in there. Oh, with the O on. Well, so what I did was like, okay, one was kind of based on an idea that I had before. And what it was is like a tree that was almost kind of like monster looking tree with a cardinal on it. That's what I originally drew. But on this one, I drew like an Oriole.
Yeah.
That was one of the other ideas. And then the other idea that I came up with was like a blue crab busting out of a jack-o'-lantern.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's got like a candle in its mouth. And the smoke coming from the candle spells out Billy Springs.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, strings, not springs.
You caught it.
That's neat. And I think I saw where you said you don't even have a copy of it.
I don't.
It's sold out.
I saw that too.
And you don't even have a version of it.
And people were writing me on Facebook. They go, I want a poster. I want a poster. I'm going, I don't have posters,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard back from Billy's art person yet. But she wrote me, yeah, they're sold out. She goes, everybody loves it. And somebody said, well, they're up on eBay. And I looked it up.
How much?
Well, wait a minute here now.
I'm so excited to hear this.
Well, I looked it up and I go, $7. I go 7 to 28 different things.
Yeah.
And then somebody wrote me, they go, oh, no, those are fakes.
Oh.
And they go, look at this one place on eBay. And I did. And they were offering it at different sizes.
Oh, they were just printing them out.
Yeah. And I figured they bought one of the posters and scanned it. And then they're doing digital copies.
Yeah.
And I'm going, whoa, But I did see some people were listing the original ones because one was going for 500.
Okay.
Another one was going like for 180 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was a foil one that was like the $500 one. And I wasn't too excited how the foil ones look anyways.
Because makes it look
no, see, I didn't know. I had an idea that they were going to print in foil, but I didn't gear the artwork.
Gotcha.
So anything that's white ended up being foil. So it doesn't look
not exactly what you drew.
Yeah.
In your mind. And
If you would have known that context, you would have done something potentially different. Yeah.
I would have done another layer that was white ink.
Okay.
Oh.
That's what I would have done because it was like looking back and forth here.
Perfect. You're good, man.
Okay.
So that's pretty neat, though. You got to do something for Billy Strings, the poster.
Well, I did one a few years ago.
Okay.
Billy's mom is on my group page.
Okay.
Billy's mom would write me off and on during the year. You ought to do a poster for my son. You ought to do a poster for my son. She was sending me messages. I go, yeah. You ought to do a poster for my son. I go, okay. And then I finally said, okay, who's your son? And she goes, Billy Strings. And I'm going, I'm thinking, well, what kind of name is Billy Strings? You know. So I looked him up. And I'm going, wait, this guy's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
He's crazy awesome.
yeah. So she goes, you ought to do one. She goes, I said, yeah, I'll do one. So his manager contacted me, and we were doing phone calls and emails, and they told me, you know, the deadline. They gave me all these guidelines to stick with, and I find that was a little limited on the guidelines. To go, you know, family friendly, and don't do this, and this, and I'm going, no. So I did a design, and I got it done 2 weeks before the deadline. And the way I designed it, see, I used to do concert posters, and then I was saying, well, how much are the ticket prices? And so, no, don't put that on there because it's a commem. I said,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
the deal. And then I'm thinking, okay. And I used to have to do that when I was doing real posters. And they said, no, we just sell the posters the night of. And I go, okay. And I designed it not knowing it was going to be silk screened. So I designed it for offset printing. The day before the concert, I get a message on my machine going, there's a problem. Get a hold of us. And I try to get a hold of them, and then I get a message back, oh, we got it handled. You know, and I'm going, okay,
What?
you know, but what by meaning handled, they did their own poster. His manager used to do his posters when he was in Traverse City, I guess. That's what the story I'm hearing. So he did a quickie to make up for that show. And Deborah, Billy's mom, was not happy. She let me know, and she goes, Billy, you know, he really wanted to use that poster design that you did. And I go, well, you know, I didn't know, and stuff.
Right.
You know, I was talking to her about it. I talked to a friend that was in the screen printing, and they could have shot a color separation of what I've done and then do it, but they needed it in Photoshop layers to do silk screening, and I didn't know that's how they wanted it.
Right. You didn't have all the information you needed to make, and it sounds like that's happened a couple times. So
no, just one time.
Okay.
This
well,
was
I just thought the more recent poster, though, you even said like,
no, I told them, you know, they sent me a message. They go, do you want to do a poster? And I said, sure. You know, I said, but this time I need to have contact with the screen printer so I can do exactly what you guys need.
Yeah.
You know, and so like they go, sure, you know, so I could go, you know, through their art person and the screen printer to find out. So I make sure that I do the right thing this time.
Oh, I just try to make them different. If you know, everyone has to be different for me.
Yeah.
I hate to repeat myself.
Yeah.
I hate to repeat myself.
I saw that one coming a mile away.
This guy's sharp.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, it's magic. I went back into my body of work, and I was able to change things that I messed up back then. You know, nobody knew.
Messed up?
Oh, I spelled words wrong.
Oh,
things
okay.
like that, and you know, had actual things that happened that I had no control over. Now I recreate the poster and make it perfect.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the ones that have misprinted are probably worth more.
Yeah, the originals are.
Yeah, because
nobody wants the new ones.
Oh,
you know, because they want the originals.
Yeah, right.
Which are worth a lot of money, like I said. So, but I sell them for $10 a piece now, and I do really well.
Yeah.
But I have so many.
So what are you covering? What are you doing? What kind of posters are you doing for
everything? Everything. I do a lot of educational posters now. Like you know, big time wrestling. I have all the famous wrestlers on one poster, and people love it because they remember what big time wrestling was back in the day.
Yeah.
I do things like that. Old DJs. I have a disc jockey poster.
Okay.
That's the stuff I really care about. The history of rock and roll. I have a three poster set of the history of rock and roll.
Awesome.
That stuff I love, you know.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, we'll see if it ever sells.
So the artist side of you gets to produce a poster that you want to produce and sell. Do you have people coming to you saying, "Hey, Carl, can you make me this post? Can you make a
Yeah, of
post?"
course.
So you
Yeah,
do have
still take
the client
commissions,
base kind of deal.
Yeah, I do important stuff.
Yeah, and not just bands or artists like that. It could be just about anything.
I just did the concert of colors. It's a big event in New York and in Detroit. You probably heard of it. I don't know.
Colors. I
The
feel
concert of colors.
I haven't heard of that.
No, that sounds cool.
Oh, it's huge. They bring musicians from all over the world and play for free.
Oh, wow.
At the DIA and venues in Detroit.
You know what? Someone mentioned that before. I think we do know what that is. I think one interview we had, someone mentioned Concert of Colors. I think so. I'm going to look that up. That sounds cool.
Every year, it's a huge event.
So talking back to Jack, I mean, you've been connected with Jack for quite a while because you worked at Third Man Records.
I did. I was the head of design at Third Man down in Nashville. And ever since then, I ended up relocating back to Chicago, where I had moved down to Nashville, then back to Chicago for our son to start school. Anytime Jack goes on tour, I design posters.
Okay. That's the thing. You're always the poster design for Jack's.
There are other designers too.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there are many because there is a unique poster for every show.
Yeah, so that's a lot.
Yeah, and for me, I see poster design as, or at least what I try to bring to it is, I call it the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup school of design, where let's say like Jack's the chocolate and the city or the venue or the date is the peanut butter. And I try to bring those together.
Gotcha.
Almost like, I don't know if you remember the old Absolute vodka ads. There was like Absolute New York,
Yep.
Absolute Warhol. Absolute,
Yes.
And it's, to me, that's the puzzle or the challenge for every poster. What can I figure out for every city and every night that he's playing, or other bands, if I'm doing posters for other artists, that merges the artist with the time and place.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that's your jam? Like you gravitate towards that type of design work, or
I do.
Artistic?
I do. I personally don't feel, and some people may argue this, I don't feel that I have a style. I don't feel that you could look at my work and say, oh, that's Matthew Jacobson.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas there are some artists who have a very specific style. Doesn't matter if they're doing a poster for Jack White, Pearl Jam, the Rolling Stones. It's going to look like them. Doesn't matter if the Rolling Stones are playing in Cleveland or Pittsburgh or New York. It's going to be the same, and it's going to look like that artist. I have no issues with that. But to me, I enjoy the puzzle of, and maybe this comes from being a designer and working in sort of a commercial field as opposed to a fine art field. I studied graphic design. At the time, it was called communication design. And for me, it's always about communicating not what I want to say, but what the client wants and needs to say. And so if I was a fine artist, it'd be very different.
Yeah.
And I think
you'd be like, don't put me in this box. Don't give me requirements.
Totally. And there are amazing poster artists and other artists and illustrators who have a style. And I'm envious of that because I don't have that. But it's also not the thing that gets me excited about a project.
Sure. That is so cool.
Which is important. You got to be excited about it.
Yeah.
Right?
I think I have a style, I guess.
Okay.
I just go by vibes, right? Parents are hippies. Kind of a hippie myself, I guess. But I work with Underground, Manchester Underground. You guys talk to them yet?
No, we didn't have a chance to. No.
They've been referenced a few times.
You should. They're cool guys.
Okay.
Man. We do shows every third Saturday at the River Raisin Distillery in Manchester.
Okay.
But I mean, we've had Wilson Thicket. We just had the guy John Elliston who wrote Some Kind of Wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't make it famous because he was the wrong color at the wrong time. And that was that was his whole. It was like VH1 Storytellers. It was a great show. But again, I never would have been able to meet that man, which was awesome.
Right.
Without drawing pictures for a living, which is also awesome.
So where's your inspiration come from to generate the art, like
music.
the music? Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, and that's what I was getting at. lost track there a little bit. But so a lot of these bands I've never heard of ever. So I will ask Steve, hey man, what are the next 3 shows? And he'll eventually send me the 3 artists, and I'll sit there and I'll listen to them. Just listen and listen and listen, even if it's not my kind of music or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
And then I'll get things in here, and then I'm going to sound like a crazy person, but then there's like a bing.
Yeah.
And
epiphany.
well, and it's the it's the final thing, and that's it. My brain will not develop the image that I have past that. That's my poster, and then I do everything I can to make that happen.
Yeah.
Like for example, I did Laith Al-Sadi.
Yeah.
So again, I saw him on TV, but I had never heard his original music. Right? He's a huge Deadhead, by the way. He did some of the best Grateful Dead covers I have ever heard. See, he played by himself with one guitar, and it was like he had an entire band.
Yeah.
It was the most mesmerizing thing ever. But so I wanted to hear his original music, so I type it in YouTube or whatever, and I start listening, and I just kept seeing this giant bear, like it was like a grizzly bear, but it was all Technicolor and trippy,
Yeah.
And so that's what his poster ended up being. It's actually a photograph I took and then redrew at the Binder Park Zoo or
Binder Park Zoo.
Yeah,
Binder Park Zoo.
That bear that's sitting there with his arms really old. Yeah, that's what it is. I ended up redrawing that guy, and when he came into the thing and saw it, he was like, "Oh, that's my spirit animal." And I had no idea.
He had a
and that
he liked bears.
That happens so often. It's eerie.
Ooh.
Like I will just
You've tapped into something, dude.
Well, and it just pops, like I said, it pops in. So it must be what they're trying to portray. Because
this must be what you were meant to do. It sounds like.
Maybe.
How do these thoughts or ideas of what you're going to create come to you? Like how does that, is it that you see something else that inspires you, or is it that you actually just dream these things up in your head?
Honestly, music.
Okay.
I'll listen to a song, and that's why I love this art exhibition so much.
I was gonna say that's why he's here. I bet.
I'm like, oh man, I heard this song. I went back and I'm like, okay, well, let me make sure that I'm not listening to something that's totally abnormal.
Right.
So I go back and I read the lyrics. I'm like, wow, this is a really good song. And then we actually had we had to come up with a poster for a final project in Professor Hughes's class, and I'm like, you know what? Boom. And she's like, you have to put it into this art exhibition. I'm like, I don't want to.
A little nerve-wracking there.
I'm like, no pressure, but so I submitted, and lo and behold, here I am. I'm also learning too that I have to, I have something to share with the world. So this is a perfect opportunity to get me out of my comfort zone.
Exactly. Yeah. And you keep doing that, you put yourself in that comfort zone, you'll get more comfortable.
If any of those bands out there want to check Jaylen out, maybe you could help them out with a project or something.
Absolutely.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. You made a piece for this event, right? And there's all kinds of people who need posters for their shows and all that type of stuff, or maybe even like you talked about the lyrics or from a song, or even the concept of an album. People are putting together art for a single or an album and all that stuff. That might be something.
Oh yeah, I definitely dissect. I want to find that perfect little, even if it's just a snippet of the song. I'm like, you know what? That's it right there. Let's highlight this, blow it up.
Mm-hmm.
This is your art. And everyone that I created a poster for, they thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, you really listen to my music? And I'm like, well, who's been creating for you? Do they not know who you are?
Yeah. That is an important part, I think. Yeah. If you don't really, it sounds like you like to really understand what they're creating, so you can create something that's really true to that, versus somebody who might just come in and, okay, give me the idea of what you want and I'll kick it out for you.
Oh, it has to be personable. I mean, how are you going to touch the masses with your song, and then you're putting this out, and this is the first visual that they see? What message are you trying to send out there?
Right. Yeah. I love all the buttons.
And yes. Yeah. Me too. Cool. Yeah.
And that's the backside, you said, of a poster?
Well, the buttons appear on the back of a poster. And then I also sell, that poster sold out, but I still have about 8 more what I call button boxes that have 130 plus buttons. The buttons, and this appeared on a zine for that button box. The buttons reference things that from Jack White's life, from his music, and from the city of Detroit. And it was a gift for Jack's 50th party. 50th, not for his 50th, sorry, for Jack turned 50 this year. So there's one button that says the spirit of 75, which was his date of birth, and or his year of birth. But yes, so that was the button box was my gift to him.
Cool.
Yeah.
I do it because I love it.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing in my life that ever came close to the feeling of creating music. So like when I play music, I'll start something and then I'll be like, okay, I need to take a break, and 5.5 hours have passed. The same thing happens with art. I'll be like, oh man, I should probably take a break. I have to pee or I'm thirsty. And I'm like, holy shit, it's been 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like I've been staring at my hands for 4 hours, and that happens nowhere else. So that's just, like you said, I guess that's the hey, this is probably what you should be doing right now. It gets a lot of my thoughts out of my head,
release.
Because I live up there sometimes,
I hear you.
And so, that music does that also, and music's not always possible, so that's one of those things. Also, I play guitar like this, right? And I draw like this. So I had an instance several years back where I almost lost the use of my left hand completely.
Wow.
Cut just everything in there, severed it all, and it was dead. And I had like one of those life moments, where you're like, where you examine things, I guess, and you're like, holy shit, what am I going to do if I can't play music anymore? Like that was rough. That kept me up for a while. That was way before the art thing ever came into play, you know what I mean? But now, in this point in my life, I'd be okay with losing my left hand because I can still make music with this one.
But you don't want to lose that one now.
Right, well,
You just can't lose them both.
I'll just train myself to do with this
well, that's
one.
true. You could do that,
But so I don't know. I guess it's one of those things. I never thought I would be 40 years old drawing pictures for a living.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about designing posters is designing posters. My least favorite part about designing posters is selling them. Now, not selling them because I appreciate that sort of connection, but it's really the shipping.
Yeah.
I do not appreciate the shipping. You got to be very careful how you roll them.
Oh yeah.
Can't ding any corners.
Oh yeah.
You
want a pristine poster.
You gotta like take them. I no longer ship through the United States Postal Service because I've had too many issues. I now go through UPS because they will individually scan each one for me. I use the sort of insider secret. I use a company called Pirate Ship, which gets,
I know. Yes, I do. I've used that several times.
I love Pirate Ship.
Yep.
I got to tell you a secret that someone at UPS at the UPS store told me. When you're mailing no one else, don't mention this. When you're mailing posters in tubes, if you go on Pirate Ship, it says, is this an irregular package? Don't click that. If you click it, you're going to be charged like $20 more
just because
and the reason what I understand is when the tubes are going down the conveyor belt, they have to be hand sort of like moved. The guy at the UPS store told me, don't write that it's a tube. You save $20 on each, so it makes it actually the same as the Postal Service and sometimes less. And rarely do they have an issue with it?
Cool.
Now I did have a terrible situation with UPS. Not that you want to hear about UPS, but I had 3 boxes of 25 posters each. So this is 75 posters, and they're in their like big box, 25. And I took them, to UPS. They scanned each one, put them back in the big boxes. I don't know. 3 days later, I get a delivery at my house. 3 boxes filled with 75 posters. And I chased the UPS guy down the street. I was like, excuse me, like, no, this is what
I'm the sender.
Yeah. And you need to take these out. He's like, that's not on me, I was like, so then I had to take them back to the store, rescan them, and this time I was like, so now anytime I go, they always want those boxes. So I'm like, I'm not giving you the boxes. Then they have these tubes,
right. Yeah.
But yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have any current projects you're working on right now?
Yeah, I got a brand new book. It's the 3rd edition of my rock posters, and I added another 89 posters to the 2nd edition.
Okay.
So I'm selling that. I'm not selling it yet. It's in production right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be.
So this will be the 3rd book of
the 3rd edition
rock
of the rock posters.
Oh, an updated version to include everything up to from the last book to what you've done since.
Right.
Ooh, so that means we got to wait for the 3rd edition.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Ooh,
I'll show you a copy.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So how many posters do you think you've made in your career?
I lost track.
Oh man, it's got
hundreds.
Tons.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
Oh yeah,
because I did them for everything. For my wife, all these years, she was in real estate, and they'd have a sock drive.
Okay.
Or a Gleaners was a food bank, and I'd do a poster for everything. Everything. I got posters of cars. I never stop. I keep doing them. There's just 2 more posters before I got here.
Wow.
One, I did a poster about punk rock. I did all the punk rock stars on one poster. It's really cool.
That's badass.
And I did a real punk looking poster.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've got so many ideas for posters. I got lists of them that I want to do.
Amazing. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's all I do.
Alice Cooper has one that, I was talking to his archival person or something, and he goes, "No, Alice doesn't have that one." I said, "All right, back then, that's before I started thinking of, promoting them and shows."
Yeah, you're just like, well, here you go.
Basically, yeah. I said, "Here, this is for Alice." And they go, "Well, cool, And then, what do you want for it? No, that's for Alice.
Backstage, you jerks. Come on.
No. The thing was, just, it's for Alice. And then I thought, well, maybe you guys can give me a few CDs or something, and have Alice sign them. And okay.
Sounds like a fair trade.
Yeah. So that's what they did.
Yeah. It's cool.
And I go, how do I know Alice signed it? Oh, he signed it. He signed it. All right. Yeah. I go, okay.
What are you working on in the music world right now? Anything?
In the music world, I recently finished a project for the Chicago Cubs. I helped them get a new version of the song Sweet Home Chicago recorded that they used as their walk-on music when they were wearing their special uniforms this past season because they were Chicago Blues themed. And I designed the cover as well for that 7-inch single. And anytime Jack or any of the bands he's in, Raconteurs, et cetera, tour, I do posters for them. I also fairly recently designed the look of the Clio Music Awards, which is a award for design and marketing in the music industry.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, but in general, I just, am always looking for opportunities. So if someone happens to be watching this and is looking for something from me, let me know.
What kind of music inspires you or what do you enjoy?
I have such a huge variety of music. Like my music playlist can go from like the Bridgerton soundtrack to like Sleep Token. It's all over.
Yeah, Sleep Token.
It's all over the place. Throwing some Dr. Dre in.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a go-to, like if I need to I know I'm going to enjoy this today, every day, what is it?
I've been on a her kick for a while.
Okay.
Her?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, her range of instruments is just out of control. Like she'll go from playing bass guitar, hopping on the piano, then next thing you know, she's singing and drumming at the same time. And I'm like, how are you not tired?
This world is so wonderful, music and art, because there are very few avenues in life where you can create something like music and art and then die or never even matter past that point. But those things can live on for ever.
For a long
it's
time.
like one-hit wonders. Nobody knows who those fucking people are. Nobody cares. But the songs are there.
That's right.
And then that's that's all that matters. And
so you're a musician. I assume you play the guitar is your main instrument.
if I'm jamming with people and I'm doing stuff that's acoustic, I'll use mandolin.
Okay.
If I'm going electric, I'm playing bass.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
When I was in a band, I played bass.
Gotcha.
I first learned how to play an instrument on bass because a neighbor down the street, he was in a band, and I'd walk by and he's on his porch, and it was an acoustic electric bass, and then sat by. And when I first started playing the bass, I couldn't play it like this. I just laid it down flat, and I was just using my thumb. And I was just jumping all over the place, And he said, if you're going to be in a band, you can't sit there and play with your thumb on a bass.
Yeah, you got to play.
You got to hold it up, So
strap it on.
Yeah. So I got used to that. And
to bring this back to music, I pitched. Jack White had a song. This is a couple tours ago. I wanted to do a grave rubbing. I wanted the poster to be, I wanted to actually produce a headstone that said Jack White, the date of the concert or whatever. And then I wanted to do like a rubbing of it as the poster, but it was a little too dark. Yeah. It was Entering Heaven Alive was the record.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of
came out. So exactly. It fit, but it was.
He didn't want people to think he did.
I don't even know if he. I think we might have killed that idea prior to sharing it with him. Yes, there's a lot. I would say for every poster I have designed, there are 20 others that I've had the thought for and hasn't happened. And then I think I'll use it another time. It is very rare that you using it another time.
Interesting.
Back in the 70s when you started all this, just doing stuff that started with the mural, right? Kind of, right?
Kind of. Yeah.
Would you have thought that this would have led into concert posters, T-shirts, just doodles, all this stuff 50 years later?
It's like you don't think about the future when you're doing
those pieces of paper out there. Fulfill me. It makes me happy to see the bands, happy to see the art.
Yeah.
And that's really it for me, Or
that's awesome.
Like my daughter liking a poster. That's it. That's all I need. I don't give a shit past that point, Sometimes I don't even care if the bands like the poster because I do. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I haven't had that yet, though. Somebody be like, "Oh, well, I don't like that. It's terrible. It's terrible." Right. Well, I mean, it's cool. Whatever. I'm open to it. My 76-year-old father loves my posters.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which I never thought would happen.
Right.
That was pretty much the pinnacle for him.
That's good. That's really cool.
Long time artist, from murals to concert posters to doodles to everything in between, and music.
Dennis's art speaks to me specifically. I like the detail, intricate stuff, and the oddball, monstery stuff.
Oh,
so those together, that's my jam.
Thanks, Dennis.
Oh, you're welcome.
We appreciate you, man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for the time.
Fantastic.
It was great speaking with
was
you.
cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah, thanks, Carl.
This was a interesting conversation. I love that.
Yeah, I'm glad. Thanks for having me. I appreciate your interest.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Jonathan. This was great.
Guys.
This was awesome.
Catching up with you and
letting me ramble.
Well, Jaylen, this was great chatting with you. And good luck with your graduation and the steps after. But it's great to chat with you, and I'm excited to see what comes next for you in the future.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Rock on.
If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe. And also check out our website, themittenmusic.com. Sign up for future information. And also check out our social clips on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure to tune into our next episode to figure out where we're going next in Season 5.